Streaming on clickorlando.com, you're watching News 6 at 7 a.m.
Now on News 6 Mornings, a father now behind bars after his 18-month-old son dies after hours in a hot truck. The key update we're waiting on from the sheriff that could shed new light on the tragic case. Plus,
I will make my decision whether or not to go within the next 2 weeks. That's a quote directly from the president.
President Trump sets a deadline as nuclear tensions escalate in the Middle East. What's being done to prevent a full-scale war, and how Florida is working to bring Americans back home.
And a former teacher arrested accused of inappropriately touching a student. How the school and police are handling the investigation. Well, good morning on your finally Friday. It is 7 a.m. I'm Crystal Moyer.
Man, I woke up excited. I'm Stephen Montiero. Justin has the day off. I'll be checking on the roads in just a bit. But first, Chief Meteorologist Candace Campos with your Friday forecast.
Yes. You didn't get the memo on the orange.
I know. We walked and we're like, hey, it's like the Spider-Man. Everyone's pointing at everybody.
I get left out. No big deal.
Listen, you got to wear the bright colors. It is the first day
of summer.
Right?
Come on.
We just wanted to match the sun, right? You know how the orange and
the
orange and yellows.
How cute.
Do you really think I thought that much
Absolutely not.
Okay, that's what I thought.
I didn't either.
I got dressed in the dark, okay? Let's just be happy that I wore the same shoes. Looking here at the radar across the area right now, we're not really picking up a lot of rain. We've been watching this one little lone cell moving in over northern Lake County, now pushing into Flagler and Volusia County, kind of fizzling now over the National Gardens, but it certainly created quite a light show early this morning. One of our viewers, Eric in Ormond Beach, saw this beautiful kind of cloud cover there. A lot of it was kind of cloud to cloud, none of it really reaching down to the ground, so that's certainly good news there, but certainly enough lightning to light up the skies there. Rain chances this afternoon. We are already picking up some rain. Our atmosphere is juiced and primed and ready to create some more booming thunderstorms this afternoon. And unfortunately, we're right along the immediate coastline. It will be another day where most of the rain will be pushing out to your west. Most of the action today, again, between 75 and 95. You can see the collision zone there kind of highlighted in the orange and reds. Coverage for today, once again, up to about a 60 to 70%. But again, today is the first day of summer, and basically all that means it's technically the longest day of the year. We're talking 13 hours, 57 minutes, 41 seconds. So make the best of every second for today. We'll have more details on your long weekend forecast coming up in just a bit. Now let's check on those roadways with Trooper Steve. He's got your News 6 traffic update.
Crystal and I are over here laughing because you meteorologists have some of the best words.
It's ready. It's
primed. It's primed. It's juiced. Jonathan always uses dip and dodge and all that stuff. Listen, there's no dipping and dodging. Keep the juice at home, please. Don't need you spilling it out on the roadway out here. 528 looking good this morning, 417. If you're headed up towards 408 East Side University, UCF this morning, no issues. And then ground level on the east side, looking good.
Well, father is behind bars accused of leaving his 18-month-old son locked inside a hot truck for hours while he went drinking. The toddler tragically died from heat exposure.
Yeah, Scott Gardner was arrested yesterday on charges of aggravated manslaughter and child neglect. Now, today, he's set to face a judge. News 6 Volusia County community correspondent Angie Casada joins us live at the jail. And Angie, the sheriff is set to speak on this case today.
Hey, good morning, guys. That's right. Sheriff Mike Chitwood says that he'll speak on the case at some point later on today, but that father was booked in this jail last night after deputies say he left his 18-month-old in a hot truck while he went out drinking. This is the moment Volusia County deputies cuff 33-year-old Scott Gardner, charging him in the death of his toddler, Sebastian.
Scott, watch your step.
Investigators say back on June 6, Gardner left his son in a truck for over 3 hours while he got a haircut and drank inside Hanky Panky's lounge in Ormond Beach.
It is pretty aggravating. Shocking at the same time, too.
Neighbors say Gardner initially lied, telling them Sebastian had a fever. But deputies say the child's body temperature reached 111 degrees.
As a father of 2 children, it's despicable.
According to noheatstroke.org, there have been 6 hot car deaths in the U.S. this year alone, 39 last year. Now, Sheriff Mike Chitwood says that he's going to release more on this case later on today. Gardner is going to be here at the jail with no bond. I'm your Volusia County correspondent, Angie Casava, News 6.
Thank you, Angie. A former Bishop Moore teacher is in jail accused of molesting a student during a tutoring session. Now we're waiting to see when he will face a judge for the first time. News 6's Stephanie Rodriguez joins us live in studio. And Stephanie, what can you tell us about this case?
Well, Steve, 31-year-old Jared Tatum was arrested just yesterday morning. He's facing charges of lewd touching of certain minors and attempted sexual battery on a victim over 12 years old. Now, according to police, Tatum was an engineering teacher here at Bishop Moore Catholic High School. A student reported that on May 7th, Tatum inappropriately touched her during a tutoring session. The school says that it fired him immediately, and Orlando police tell us DNA results helped them confirm the student's allegations. At this time, there is no evidence of any additional victims. We did reach out to the Diocese of Orlando for comment, and in a statement, they told us that Tatum was a teacher at the school, but he was terminated on May 16th for what they say was, quote, inappropriate interactions and conduct with a student. He is currently being held on no bond, and again, we are still waiting to see when he'll go before a judge. In studio, Stephanie Rodriguez, News 6.
Stephanie, thanks. Developing right now, Governor Ron DeSantis just wrapped up another press conference announcing that another plane landed in Tampa filled with American evacuees from Israel. It's one of the 4 wide-body jets that are working to bring nearly 1,500 Americans home. The first flight landed in Tampa yesterday morning with more than 160 evacuees on board. The governor just spoke, as I mentioned, saying most evacuees are young Jewish adults on birthright trips who evacuated Israel by cruise ship to Cyprus.
You have folks that are there. We have a lot of students that are visiting, that are studying. We have people that are on Israel Birthright program who are going to, for the first time in their lives, be able to see Israel and learn about their heritage. And then all of a sudden, to have this happen, you're really in no man's land.
More planes are expected to arrive. Florida's Emergency Management Division and a veteran-led group called Gray Bull Rescue are leading the effort.
It comes as President Trump sets a deadline to decide whether to order strikes on Iran. Now, officials say he's hoping for diplomacy, but the tense situation is interesting with the violence in Israel and Iran now entering its second week. As CBS News' Jared Hill tells us, today could be a turning point. European leaders are set to meet Iran's top diplomat in Switzerland to push for de-escalation.
In a last-ditch effort for diplomacy, President Donald Trump has set a deadline for a decision on whether to strike Iran.
I will make my decision whether or not to go within the next 2 weeks. That's a quote directly from the president.
Multiple sources tell CBS News that President Trump thinks disabling Iran's most secure underground nuclear site, Fordow, is crucial to stopping Iran from producing nuclear weapons.
It is a fact, and the United States government maintains this fact, that Iran has never been closer to obtaining a nuclear weapon.
Multiple sources also say the FBI has stepped up monitoring of possible Iran-backed operatives within the U.S. The FBI and the White House have not commented directly. Israel's strikes on Iranian nuclear and military sites now stretches into a second week. The death toll on both sides rising as Iran retaliates.
They're targeting civilians because they're a criminal regime. They're the arch terrorists of the world.
Yesterday, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said regime change in Iran isn't the goal of the operations, but added that it could happen as a result. With an eye towards de-escalation, today Iran's foreign minister is set to meet with some of his European counterparts in Geneva. In the meantime, the U.S. and other nations are warning their citizens to leave both countries as the conflict persists. Jared Hill, CBS News.
New this morning, a wrong-way driver was arrested on I-4 in Orange County after driving with a blood alcohol level more than double the legal limit. It happened around 3 a.m. Wednesday morning near John Young Parkway. Troopers say the man was driving east in the westbound lanes with a BAC level of 0.2. 2 troopers carefully coordinated to stop him before anyone was hurt. The driver was taken to the Orange County Jail and now faces DUI charges.
Thankful for those troopers. It's a dangerous stretch in Pine Hills where people keep getting hit trying to just cross Silver Star Road. Well, now the state's going to be stepping in. FDOT says 45 people have been hit by cars along Silver Star Road between Good Homes and Mercy Drive in the last 5 years. Now, 6 just this year alone, including a 73-year-old man who was killed just last month. Now, 2 safety projects are in the works to cut those numbers down. They're going to be including new crosswalks, better lighting, and these new R-cut intersections to reduce U-turns and improve pedestrian flow.
Do you think that those safety improvements will help out those areas?
Extremely. Extremely. Especially the daycare.
I'm here for it. Neighbors say they also want more street lights and guardrails to make the area safer, especially at night.
In Seminole County, the sheriff says without more money, public safety is at risk. Sheriff Dennis Lima spent hours this week asking commissioners for a 9% budget increase. That's more than $16 million to cover rising personnel costs, pensions, recruitment, and overtime at the sheriff's office. He says deputies are leaving for higher pay elsewhere, making it harder to keep quality officers.
Every other city has a starting salary of $5,000 higher than us. The city of Sanford has a starting salary of $8,500 higher than us.
The majority of the county's $1.2 billion budget goes to public safety, the sheriff's office, jail, and court costs.
It's the latest measure to protect Florida's beloved sea cows. A federal judge just put a stop to new septic tanks near the Indian River Lagoon, saying too many manatees are dying, right? So the lagoon is home to thousands of these manatees, but a lawsuit claims that the state-owned water rules are failing them. Now Florida has to pause new septic tank installations in the northern lagoon and take stronger steps to protect the animals. This includes monitoring their health and even feeding them when needed.
A lot of agricultural runoff, stormwater runoff, and leaky septic systems or septic tanks can also have a reoccurrence of another harmful algal bloom if we're not careful.
Now, the state warned this could delay home construction, but look, the court said the risk to wildlife is just too high to wait.
7-Eleven on your Friday, and we're going to check in with our forecast with Chief Meteorologist Candace Campos. Shaping out to be a pretty good day so far.
I think so. As we take a live look outside downtown Orlando, you can see kind of those orangey pinkish skies out there. We still have just enough of Saharan dust that is allowing for a little extra light scattering, which gives us more of those oranges and red shades that we tend to see this time of the year. Other than that, though, it's still a warm, muggy start. Even with that dust, we're still going to develop some heavier rain and storms in the forecast this afternoon. We're up to those mid-70s, pretty much area-wide from coast to coast. We are looking at another round of feels like temperatures back into those triple digits, feeling like 100 to 107 degrees. It feels like you're breaking a sweat just walking to the mailbox this afternoon. So many of us will be welcoming in some cooler changes when it comes to the rain, right? So bringing a little bit of relief to that heat. We will have some storms around for your summer camp forecast. Not so much right now, but certainly by about the pickup time between about 2, 5 o'clock, that's where we will start to see those booming thunderstorms again this afternoon. As of right now, it looks like the chance for rain will start to tick up right after about the lunchtime hour, up to about a 60 to 70%, again, between about 4 and 6 o'clock. This does not mean everybody. It looks like the coastal communities once again will kind of squeak by, staying pretty dry this afternoon. We'll have more details on pinpointing it county by county and a look at your first full weekend of summer coming up in just a little bit. Now let's check on those roadways. It is 7:13. They're probably getting a little busier at this hour.
Well, just a smidge, just a slight dollop as you head out there. Listen, I'm thinking of food right now. As you're headed out there this morning, no problems. The attraction's still looking good as well, even out on the east side, like I showed you a little while ago. But the delay, eastbound I-4 at 535. So it's between 536 and 535. It's the only delay I'm currently watching. The rest of us looking great. Time now 7:13. If you light up fireworks on the wrong night, you could pay the price.
Orange County is cracking down with a new rule that limits legal firework use. Coming up, the 3 days you're allowed and how video clips could now lead to a fine. First, though.
I was just like, praise God.
The 9-year-old girl who survived a shark bite off Florida's Gulf Coast speaking out about the encounter. Coming up, she shares what she remembers and what doctors did to save her hand. This morning, we're hearing from the 9-year-old girl who survived a shark bite off of the Gulf Coast. Now, we first told you about this incident when it happened last week at Boca Grande Beach, and now Lee Lendl is sharing what she saw in the water when she was first bit.
I didn't see anything. I was just snorkeling, then I went up to breathe, and then something hard bit me, and then it tried to take me away. Then I pick up my hand and it's all in blood.
As you heard there, she was snorkeling when she was bit right there, nearly severing her hand. Now, she was rushed to Tampa General Hospital where doctors saved her arm just in time. Now, doctors say her injuries were extreme, but her recovery is promising. And despite all of this, she says that she's not afraid to get back into the water.
Brave one there. Developing now, we're working to find out what caused a train to partially derail in Ocala, blocking traffic for hours. This happened yesterday near Northwest 10th Street between Highway 441 and Northeast 8th Avenue. Ocala police posted these photos to social media, saying crews cleared the scene just before the evening rush. The train belongs to Florida Central Railroad, and while no injuries or damage were reported, FDOT crews, they stayed on site into the night. Investigators still haven't said exactly what went wrong there. And if you light up fireworks on the wrong day, you can now face a hefty fine in Orange County. A new ordinance now limits firework use to just 3 holidays a year, which will be July 4th. We know that's coming up, New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. The change comes after months of complaints, neighbors saying they are fed up with late night booms, scared pets, and fire risks.
March looked like this, very busy. March. This guy is shooting off bombs and mortars to our homes, 105 homes on our block.
Fines start at $200. Local law enforcement will also be able to issue citations based on video and audio evidence.
So you ever walk into the wrong place at just the wrong time? Might make for a weird situation. Well, this chicken sure did. Take a look here. So this confused hen was found roaming outside the wrong restaurant, Buffalo Wild Wings in Des Moines. Either she didn't read the menu and understand that she was up next, or she was chickening out at the last minute and running out of Dodge. The Animal Rescue League of Iowa swooped on in to save her. She's safe and sound now and far away from anybody who's interested in
some wings, some fresh wings.
Buffalo Wild Wings, it hits the spot.
It was
sometimes.
that smell, though. It was probably some crumbs leading up to the door. They're trying to lure it in.
Yeah.
It didn't quite work.
It makes me think of my favorite line from Chicken Run. And it says, "I saw me life flash before me eyes." It was very boring. Do you know that? You know that line?
I need to watch this movie.
You haven't seen Chicken Run? Oh my gosh,
Never?
it's awesome.
It's with the clay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that stuff.
Yeah, it's cool. It's an oldie, but goodie. All right, let's talk about the weather forecast.
It's an oldie. Oh, man.
If you ask my kids, it's an oldie. All right. All right, let's talk about what we are tracking. It is the first day of summer, and speaking of the fryer, we're going to feel like we're in a... And what are those things called? The air fryers. That's certainly what it's going to feel like later on today before the storms move in. The storm chances on repeat, pretty much a repeat performance of what we dealt with yesterday is what we're in store for your first day again of summer. For the weekend, it's going to stay hot. There's no doubt about that, but it is going to be a little drier. Rain chances today, about 60 to 70%. Saturday and Sunday down to about a 30 to 40%, meaning the weekend is looking good if you want to enjoy the outdoors, but making sure there are outdoor plans that you can also stay cool in, like beach, boating, pool, springs, things like that. Let's look at what the weather looks like overhead right now, because I've layered over our satellite, our radar, and our water vapor imagery, because I do want to show you a couple things that are going on right now in our atmosphere. So you can see all the cloud cover and all that moisture, some of that rain already kind of sticking around along the Gulf Coast this morning, kind of showing you that we have certainly an atmosphere that is ready and primed for more showers and thunderstorms. But look what's lurking just out there over the Bahamas. That is some drier air that we're going to start tapping into Saturday and Sunday, hence why rain chances do go down a bit this weekend. Now let's check on that hour-by-hour forecast for today. We're back up into those mid-90s with rain chances increasing after about 2 o'clock this afternoon. But before we get some relief from the heat with the rain, it's going to be a lot of heat. Look at those temperatures feeling when you factor in the humidity like 100, even up to about 107 degrees in some locations this afternoon. Yesterday, we clocked a feels like temperature, I believe, of 111 in the Villages. Now, as we look here at the clouds and rain forecast, just like yesterday, we'll start to see scattered showers bubbling up as early as about noon. And then basically from 75 and 95, that collision of the sea breezes will be focused right along the I-4 corridor till as late as about 6, 7 o'clock. Most of it kind of fizzling out by about sundown. The coastal communities, though, you're going to stay dry for another day. So if you're planning on enjoying the beaches, no need for to deal with any rain or storm chances with that moderate risk of rip currents. And then staying dry, a little breezier, though, on Sunday. And as you get results here, your full 7-day forecast, do expect a lot more of the same, though, as we head throughout the next 7 days. Now let's check on those roadways with Trooper Steve.
I'm running all over the place right now. Right now, things looking good out by the attractions. It's I-4 at the 65-mile marker. Puts you close to Osceola Parkway. No issues out here, not even in the red out by 429. I'm here for it. 27 minutes, Champions Gate to downtown. Lowest time we've had all week. And then if you're headed out to the cruise ship, there's a Disney one out there. Hop on. Roadways are clear along 528. Don't get pulled over and ruin your day. Enjoy your cruise.
I love that shot.
It's a good one.
Pretty cool. Well, SpaceX's most powerful rocket engulfed in flames.
Yeah, at the bottom of the hour, what experts say could be to blame and what it means for the future of the Moon and Mars missions. First, though.
I'm meteorologist Michelle Morgan with your 6 things to do. How does a centennial celebration sound, or watermelon festival? I have more on that. Also, the rest of my 6 things to do coming up. I'm meteorologist Michelle Morgan in Mascot, where the Centennial Celebration will be happening on Saturday from noon to 6. I spoke with the city manager, Anna Marie Reno, about the event.
From noon till 6 p.m. We have a car show from noon till 2 p.m. And then throughout the rest of the day, we will have a DJ. We have Mr. Nichols coming in performing, country singer out of Claremont. We have the Johnny Wild Trio coming in to perform. We have Mr. Giggles coming in for the kids.
Cool off from this weekend's heat at Keel Farms Watermelon Festival this weekend. Enjoy contests, bounce houses, and water slides from 10 a.m. through 3. Speaking of watermelon, the Wild Watermelon 3K at Brevard Zoo starts at 7:30 a.m. Saturday, taking runners and walkers through animal habitats and scenic trails. Live music returns to Icon Park starting Sunday, June 22nd. Catch bands under the Orlando Eye every weekend at 4 p.m. through August 4th. Looking for Sunday plans? Head to Boxy Park in Lake Nona for family fun day. Starting at 1 p.m., enjoy live music, face painting, a balloon artist, and plenty of delicious bites for all ages. Juneteenth celebrations are happening across Central Florida, including Claremont, Orlando, Eatonville, and Daytona Beach. Find times and locations at clickorlando.com. Summer's here with Watermelon Festival's culture and family cool fun. In Mascot, meteorologist Michelle Morgan, News 6.
Well, tensions rising between the U.S. and Canada, with Canada retaliating with new tariffs of their own.
Coming up, we're going to talk about the deadline that's driving the fallout and what it could cost American manufacturers.
First, though, a father is waking up behind bars after he's arrested for leaving his son to die in a hot truck. What we're waiting to hear from the sheriff about the case.
Streaming on clickorlando.com and broadcasting live, you're watching News 6.
It's going to be another scorcher of a day, but happy first day of summer, everyone. I'm Chief Meteorologist Candace Campos. Temperatures back into those mid-90s this afternoon, feeling like the triple digits, and then the rain starts to move in. Just like yesterday, scattered showers will start up by 2-3 o'clock, basically from 95 through 75. Those two sea breezes come together, and where they collide is where we will have some rockin' thunderstorms, gusty winds. Not looking at a big severe threat, but of course looking at some strong storms potentially. A little drier, though, as we head, though, into your weekend. Now let's check on those roadways with Trooper Steve.
Roadways are still nice this morning. If you're getting ready to wake up, celebration, Osceola County. No issues out there along I-4, even by our attractions. Look at that. No slowdowns, 429. You still look good. Drive times green as anything right now. Champions Gate to downtown, 28 minutes with no slowdowns. And if you're headed out towards the coast, maybe you're headed on a cruise this morning. 528 A1A, all clear. The news continues next. Remember, get updates on our big stories anytime you want them over at clickorlando.com.
Streaming on clickorlando.com and broadcasting live, you're watching News 6.
Welcome back. The time is now 7:30 on your Friday.
Let's get a check of our top stories. A man is set to face a judge accused of killing his son by leaving him in a hot truck. Deputies say Scott Gardner left his 18-month-old alone for hours while he got a haircut and then went to a bar for a drink.
Well, we're waiting to see if a former Bishop Moore High School teacher will face a judge today after being accused of sexual misconduct with a student. The victim says it happened during a tutoring session with 31-year-old Jared Tatum.
And just within the last 2 hours, Governor DeSantis wrapped up a news conference in Tampa. He was there to greet a flight of evacuees the state helped get out of Israel as the fighting between Israel and Iran continues to intensify.
All right, let's turn now to your weather.
Let's check back in with Chief Meteorologist Candace Campos. Good morning, ma'am.
Did you see those cumulus clouds?
I did. That was so cool.
Yeah,
Yes.
I recognized them right away.
You worked with me long enough. You know what a cumulonimbus cloud
He
looks
gets
like.
all of the weather information because he's sitting next to you.
That's it.
Yeah, yeah.
You're the smart one here, okay?
But you can recognize some of those clouds over the years, haven't? How long have we worked together now for? 9 years?
Almost 9 years.
Yeah, okay. Well, looking here at the radar, we are looking relatively dry, but we can't rule out the chance of a couple of those developing scattered showers and thunderstorms. And the reason why I'm showing you and kind of like really talking about those clouds is because we are watching some of that cloud cover building in already from the western side, Bellevue Heights, areas of Orange Blossom Hills, right around areas just south of Ocala. So this is kind of the northern Lake Sumter, southern Osceola County zone that we are popping up a couple of those scattered showers. We were watching a lone thunderstorm, but as of the last couple of minutes, that has all kind of fizzled out. Downtown Orlando, taking a live look outside. It's a beautiful start. If you're not dealing with some of that rain already this morning, we're in those mid 70s. Now we are popping a couple of those scattered showers this morning, and that's because our atmosphere is already very primed and ready for another active day, which makes sense because it is the first day of summer, so we need the summer heat and summer storms. Check and check. So if you're planning on enjoying the theme parks for today, make sure you're prepared for both, all right? 94 is going to be our high today, and those rain chances will be kind of moving back into the area just after about the lunchtime hour. We'll have more details on the timing of the rain, county by county, and a look at how the weekend's shaping up, coming up in just a little bit. Now let's check on those roadways with Trooper Steve. He's got your News 6 traffic update.
I love how you let people know whether their plans are good or not for the day, right then and there. Like, are you thinking about going to the park today? Make sure it's a water park. Right now, I-4 Osceola Parkway, if you're headed out towards those attractions, things look very nice this morning. There are no major issues. Champions Gate, I can't believe I'm saying this, looks good this morning. 30 minutes from that area to downtown. The coast still looking nice this morning. A1A, north and southbound in Brevard County. If you're headed further south towards Viera, Cocoa Beach, even further south towards Melbourne, all clear.
Well, this morning, this Volusia County father is locked up, charged with the death of his 18-month-old son.
Deputies say he left the boy inside his hot truck for hours while they went drinking. Now he's being charged with aggravated manslaughter. News 6 Volusia County community correspondent Angie Casada is live at the jail this morning. And Angie, they say he then tried to lie about what happened.
Yeah, good morning, guys. They say his story never added up and that he gave multiple false accounts of what happened. What deputies say happened is that he left his 18-month-old to die in a hot truck while he went out drinking. 33-year-old Scott Gardner was taken into custody Thursday at his mother's home in Ormond Beach.
So Scott, watch your step. Be careful over here.
Love you guys. Well, know where you guys look.
Yeah, down the road.
Bye, because you're not going to come back here again.
Investigators say Gardner left his 18-month-old son Sebastian inside a hot truck for hours earlier this month while he got a haircut and drank at a local bar. Paramedics estimate Sebastian's body temp reached 111 degrees.
You could just be drinking in a different setting, like at home, instead of being selfish and going out.
Neighbors tell News 6 Gardner initially claimed his son died from a fever. The Ormond Beach officer who tried to revive Sebastian was the same one who put Gardner in handcuffs.
We all know it's put on the news, and leaving kids in a car regardless is, that's just a recipe for disaster. And I know my kids, I would have never left them in the car then, wouldn't even now that they're a little bit older and can fend for themselves.
Now, Sheriff Chitwood is expected to speak more on this case later today. Gardner will remain behind bars with no bond. I'm your Volusia County correspondent, Angie Casada, News 6.
Angie, thank you. In Brevard County, a woman charged more than a year after a deadly hit and run in Melbourne could walk free from jail at any time. A judge set a bond at $100,000 yesterday for Takia Hardy. Police say she hit Drew Sofranco on US 1 back on Christmas Day in 2023 and just kept on going. Our Melbourne community correspondent, James Sparvero, spoke with his father after Hardy appeared in court.
What would you say to this person if you could talk to them in jail right now?
Probably things I can't say on TV. I have a lot of hatred flowing through me for that person. You know, in time that will hopefully ease, and I don't know if forgiveness is ever in the cards.
Hardy is charged with leaving the scene of a crash involving death.
Breaking overnight, a big win for President Trump in his fight against illegal immigration. A federal appeals court ruling that Trump can keep control of the National Guard troops he deployed to L.A. following protests over ICE raids. California's Governor Gavin Newsom had sued, saying the president overstepped his authority. A lower court agreed, but the 3-judge appeal panel reversed that decision, saying it was likely Trump does have the authority because of the danger. Meantime, Florida's Attorney General is defending the state's own push to remove illegal immigrants. That's despite being held in contempt of court earlier this week.
You see what's happened to the judiciary. So many of these judges across the country that start pushing policy and legislation, and that's not the role of the judiciary. The founders would be rolling over in their graves seeing this.
James Uthmeyer appeared on Fox News yesterday, 2 days after the contempt order was issued. The judge says Uthmeyer was ignoring her earlier ruling that blocked a Florida law making it a crime for people living in the U.S. illegally to enter the state. Uthmeyer says Florida will continue to appeal all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court.
We'll have to wait longer before the next crewed rocket launch from our coast. NASA and SpaceX were hoping to get the Axiom 4 mission off the ground early Sunday, but that's now been put on hold indefinitely. NASA says it needs more time to make sure repairs to an air leak on the space station, well, make sure it's holding up. The 4-person all-private crew is set to be at the ISS for roughly about 2 weeks. Meantime, SpaceX is now suggesting a ruptured nitrogen tank could be to blame for that massive explosion on the launch pad involving a SpaceX Starship rocket. Now, we brought you that as breaking news yesterday morning. News 6's Stephanie Rodriguez joins us to discuss what the setback could mean for SpaceX. Now, Stephanie, a test was underway when that situation happened.
Yeah, Steve, and those flames burned out of control for more than 90 minutes. Now, no one was hurt, but it did leave many wondering what's next. Now, the company described it as a major anomaly. This is the 4th unplanned loss of Starship this year. Starship is the largest and most powerful rocket ever built. SpaceX is hoping to use the rocket to land astronauts on the moon and eventually travel to Mars. But this mishap will likely delay that mission.
Before that can happen, they're going to have to launch dozens of the Starship Super Heavies to prove their reliability and safety before NASA's going to put people on board. And if you think about those moon landings, supposedly starting in 2 years or so, I don't see how in the world they can get there from here.
Not only does SpaceX have to repair all the damage from the explosion, they also have to figure out exactly what happened to make sure that it doesn't happen again. Now, that launch was in Texas, but the company does hope and have plans to eventually blast off this rocket here from Florida's Space Coast. In the studio, Stephanie Rodriguez, News 6.
Stephanie, thanks. This morning, we're waiting to find out what caused a fire at an Orange County apartment complex that sent a firefighter to the hospital. This happened yesterday on Palm Key Court. That's right at the Chickasaw Trail and Valencia College Lane. Crews showed up to heavy fire coming from a second-floor apartment. They were able to knock it down, but one firefighter was taken to the hospital to be checked out for heat exhaustion.
Well, it's very hot, as hot as it is. And then when you add all the bunker gear and, of course, the fire, it becomes a lot hotter. So we always tell our crews, our personnel to make sure they're staying hydrated.
One cat did have to be rescued from the fire, but no one else was harmed. Cleanup is underway in part of Mexico after a hit from powerful Hurricane Eric. The storm in the Pacific grew to Category 4 strength, but weakened to a Cat 3 before making landfall yesterday. At least one death has been reported, along with landslides, downed power lines, and flooding. This is the first major hurricane on record to strike Mexico's Pacific coast before August. If there's any good news, it did make landfall in a sparsely populated stretch of coastline, so not affecting too many people living in the area. With that, let's get to Chief Meteorologist Candace Campos, because she's keeping an eye not only on the Pacific, but the Atlantic on our coast.
Yeah, the Pacific has certainly been very active. 5 named storms in less than about 9 days, and obviously there with a major hurricane with Hurricane Eric. Now back here on our side of the globe, across the tropical Atlantic, that includes the Atlantic, the Caribbean, and the Gulf, we are not looking at anything developing in the next couple of days. I think we could actually get into like mid-July before we see anything really significant developing in the tropics, which is kind of behind schedule. Some folks have been asking, is this kind of a slower start to the season? Well, technically, because our average for this time of the year is our first named storm by today, and certainly we're well behind that. Just because it's a slow start does not mean anything about how the rest of the season is going to shape up. Just look back at 2004. We didn't have a named storm until August 1st, and we all remember what happened in 2004. Saharan dust right now you can see across most of the tropical Atlantic, still keeping a lot of that development kind of suppressed, tapping into some of that Saharan dust, which is making it for some pretty nice sunrises and sunsets. But later on tonight, along with our sunsets, we're also going to be dealing with some rain and storms. As of now, not too much rain, but we are tracking a little bit in southern Marion County. We'll have more details on the timing of today's rain and what you can expect for your first weekend of summer coming up in just a bit. Now let's check on those roadways with Trooper Steve.
Roadways are still great this morning. No problems out there, no crashes to give you. Everything is operating exactly the way it should be. Just make sure you show up for your crews on time, because they'll leave you. I've seen the YouTube videos. It's kind of funny. 528 east and westbound, I-95 north and south. Rockledge, good morning to you guys. And let's cruise down towards the Melbourne area. Looking good. Up in New Smyrna Beach, perfectly fine as well. Yesterday out on patrol, I tell you guys, I went out to the West Orange County, towards the West Orange Trail, and monitored bicycles crossing the roadway out there. And look, it takes 2 to tango, but you gotta pay attention to the signs, and the bicyclists out there were not. Head to clickorlando.com and you can check that out. Today, Osceola County community correspondent joining me in Results 1, Stephanie Rodriguez. She's been in the studio with us this morning. We're gonna hit the road at 10 o'clock. Introduce you to her, get to know her a little bit more. Join us at clickorlando.com. A new volley in the trade war between the U.S. and Canada.
Still ahead, what our neighbors to the north are now vowing to do if a new deal can't be reached soon.
Plus, a co-defendant of Osceola County suspended sheriff appears back in court while prosecutors were looking to revoke her bond, and what the judge finally decided.
It's now been over 2 weeks since suspended Osceola County Sheriff Marcos Lopez was locked up on racketeering charges, and there's still no sign he's any closer to posting his $1 million bond. But new this morning, we now know one of his co-defendants will be allowed to stay out of jail for now. Sharon Fedrick was in court yesterday for a hearing in a fraud case that's not connected to the suspected illegal gambling ring that's led to the sheriff's arrest. Prosecutors were looking to revoke her bond because of her new charges, arguing she's a flight risk. But the judge said there's no legal basis for that. She's due back in court in the Osceola County case on June 30th.
New this morning, the ongoing trade war between the United States and Canada could soon escalate even further. Canada now saying it will double some tariffs on the U.S. steel and aluminum if a new deal can't be reached soon. As reporter Amy Kiley reports, a big summit this week didn't have the results many were hoping for.
There is absolutely a clock that is ticking down.
With trade deadlines looming and no G7 summit deal, Canada is retaliating against the U.S. On July 21st, it's set to impose new tariff rate quotas on steel. They're for countries that don't have related free trade agreements with Canada. That could make American-made steel less appealing to Canadian buyers.
We're going to adjust them to levels consistent with the progress that's made at that point on the broader trading arrangements with the United States.
U.S. duties on Canadian steel and aluminum are 50% right now. Two officials say Canada has proposed swapping defense spending for relief from those measures to no avail. The U.S. and Canada are committed to reaching some kind of trade agreement in 30 days after talks during this week's G7 summit. But analysts say a number of world leaders are disappointed that gathering didn't produce any new U.S. deals.
For many of those leaders, they saw this, and their delegation saw this, as their last opportunity to have some time to sit down face-to-face, one-on-one with President Trump before the July 9th tariff deadline.
That's when a pause on the president's so-called reciprocal duties is set to end for a list of countries.
You just want to be humble and have some deference to the inflationary impacts that could result from tariffs.
Amy Kiley, News 6.
For now, U.S. businesses are paying a 10% universal tariff on imports from most countries. The amount is 25% for certain Canadian and Mexican goods.
Big news along the coast in Volusia County as leaders approve a new project to rehab the beaches along New Smyrna. Many who live near the ocean, they're still using trap bags or giant sandbags to guard their homes. But soon, the county will spend $25 million to relocate 500,000 cubic yards of sand.
It's going to be a great project for all the homeowners and businesses along the beach to have just something else to help build these dunes back.
Those homeowners waiting a long time for this. The project is set to get underway later this year. Well, if you want to feel old, here's something. The movie Jaws, remember that? Turns 50 years old today.
Don't need to tell me that. I can just get out of bed and I feel old. It was June 20th of 1975 when the legendary film first hit theaters. Jaws is pretty much known for basically putting director Steven Spielberg on the map. The movie was also blamed for creating shark phobia, making some people absolutely terrified swimming in the ocean or just getting in some water. Special 50th anniversary editions now out and about out there on 4K, Ultra HD, Blu-ray, and digital. Just stream it.
All I can think about is dunna, dunna,
yeah.
dunna, 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 dunna,
like the pool, like
when you know the shark is coming.
It's crazy.
So cool. I mean, and it's one of those things that you do. It was a movie that made everyone terrified of the water.
Big time.
Period.
And now we have Shark Week. Now we celebrate it.
Yeah, of course. Why not? All right, let's talk about the weather forecast across the area. It'd be fun to maybe watch it, grab some popcorn, do a little vintage movie night, right? Looking at the radar right now, we are tracking a couple lone showers right now, not developing a lot of lightning right now in areas of Bellevue through Dallas, places of Candler. This is basically just north of the Villages, but south of Ocala, kind of this zone here, watching some of those heavier little pockets of some pretty quick moving downpours this morning, kind of wakes you up on a Friday, right? This is what the weather looks like overhead. We have plenty of moisture still available across the Sunshine State, but we are tapping into some of that dry air by Saturday and Sunday. That dry air is actually going to be bringing rain chances down just a touch. That does not mean it's going to be a bone dry weekend. There will be some rain to dodge, but it won't be as widespread as yesterday and today. Cape Canaveral right now, our Launch Credit Union camera, you notice there's a little bit of kind of that amber shade in the sky. It's because we do have some of that Saharan dust I talked about just a little bit ago, and that Saharan dust is going to make it for another kind of round of vibrant sunrises and sunsets over the next couple of days. Sanford right now we're at 77, 74 degrees currently in Melbourne. But now let's check on that hour-by-hour forecast for your first day of summer. 94 to about 95 is going to be our high today, with rain chances on the rise after about 2 o'clock. Once again, it's going to be the same setup. Hot and steamy to start off. You can see that by about the lunchtime hour, we'll be feeling like 100 to up to about 106 degrees this afternoon. And then the rain and storms will start moving in. Once again, it looks like it's going to be all sea breeze driven. So we got the East Coast sea breeze starting up along 95. We got the West Coast starting up along 75. And where they track, we'll watch the development of scattered showers with that collision zone once again focused right along kind of the I-4 zone here, a few miles east and west of it by about 6 o'clock. But as the sun starts to go down, I think we'll be wrapping up most of the rain by then, and then we will start to tap into some drier air. Let me show you here the mid-level moisture map. Again, stormy for your Friday. But notice what happens to all that green that starts pushing out. We'll start tapping into a little bit of dry air, but even our model's still saying there's some dry air, but it's not enough to basically squash rain chances. It just won't be, again, as widespread. So that's the reason why tomorrow for your Saturday, rain chances down to 30 to 40% rather than 60 to 70% we're dealing with today. And as a result, here's your full 7-day forecast. We are looking at a pretty summer-like setup over the next few days, highs staying in those mid-90s, but we know when you factor in all that humidity over the next couple of days, you're going to want to play it safe because the body will be feeling more like those triple digits. Now let's check on those roadways with your Prestige.
The attractions looking nice this morning, no problems. The delays are starting to slowly settle in. Your drive time's gorgeous. 16 minutes right now from 470 to downtown, 25 from Osceola. There are some issues along the Florida Turnpike this morning. Looks like there's some issues with the camera as well. Turnpike southbound right now, there's a vehicle fire out there. Your lane, you have a single lane blocked. Just be careful. It's going to be Montverde at the 280-mile marker.
New this morning, AAA is out with its predictions for the 4th of July, why the Auto Club says it could be another record year when it comes to travel in Florida.
New this morning, AAA says a record year is likely on the way when it comes to 4th of July travel right here in Florida. The Auto Club predicts over 72 million Americans will take a trip for the holiday. That includes a record 4.6 million Floridians, an increase of 3% from last year. A big majority are expected to drive out on the roadways, and once again, Orlando is going to be the top destination.
No surprise there.
Nope.
TikTok has officially gotten another reprieve from President Trump. He signed an executive order yesterday delaying the so-called sale or ban law by another 90 days. The law was supposed to go into effect in January, requiring the app to be banned in the U.S. unless it's sold by its China-based parent company. ByteDance now has until September 17th to give up control of the platform's U.S. operations. The app has 170 million users in the U.S. Well, yoga is known for helping people with mobility, right? But now a new version is also helping some Florida seniors when it comes to their cognitive skills. The University of Miami has a test class for what's known as Yoga Q. The teacher shows students the poses, but instead of repeating them each time, the participants then must recall the movement from memory. After just a few months, the study found significant improvement in cognitive testing.
The cognitive changes surprised us because the cognitive changes were so much better for the Yoga Q program.
Organizers say they're also seeing other benefits with the program helping with senior isolation and loneliness. Candace.
All right, looking out the door right now, we are all in those mid to upper 70s. We'll be closing in on those mid 90s this afternoon, feeling like the triple digits. I know there's no surprise there, but when it comes to our storm chances, they tend to fluctuate a bit from day to day. Do expect, though, a lot more of the same like we had yesterday, starting up by about 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And notice, very scattered in nature. All these sea breeze storms will come together and kind of collide across the I-4 corridor by about 5 to about 8 o'clock at night, and that's when rain chances are expected to kind of fizzle out. A little drier, just a touch drier, come Saturday and Sunday, Steve.
No issues out there, except the slowdowns in the kind of hot spots are starting to show up out by the attractions, meaning it's Friday, the weather's nice, and you guys are starting to hit the road. Increase that following distance, your drive time where it should be. And we want to thank you for joining us, and we break news over at clickorlando.com.
You can also find all of our stories on our new 6 Plus app for your TV.
Have a great day, safe weekend. We'll see you Monday.